So I know Among Us is already old, like it's not the popular new thing anymore, but it really fits today's 5-minute devotional, so I'm going to reference it. So imagine, as we've joked on Wednesday nights, imagine you're with a group of close friends in real life, and you find out that one of you is an imposter and a killer, and you don't know who it is. Well, I mean, that would be shocking if that was in real life, right? And that's actually what we're talking about in today's 5-minute devotional from John chapter 13, verses 21 to 30. After saying this, Jesus was troubled in spirit and declared, "Very truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." The disciples looked at one another, uncertain of whom he was speaking. One of his disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was reclining next to him. Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask Jesus of whom he was speaking. So while reclining next to Jesus, he asked him, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus answered, "It is the one to whom I give this piece of bread when I have dipped it in the dish." So when he had dipped the piece of bread, he gave it to Judas, son of Simon Iscariot. After he received the piece of bread, Satan entered into him. Jesus said to him, "Do quickly what you are going to do." Now no one at the table knew why he had said this to him. Some thought that because Judas had the common purse, Jesus was telling him, "Buy what we need for the festival," or that he should give something to the poor. So after receiving the piece of bread, he immediately went out, and it was night. So, there's a lot going on there. Let's talk about it for a second. So imagine you are sitting like on the ground in a circle. That's kind of the best way I can describe it. And there is no social distancing. So you're all really close to each other, shoulder to shoulder or closer. And these are people that you've been with for a long time, doing a lot of stuff with. You're super comfortable with them. And Jesus says, "One of you is going to betray me." And these are all people you trust. So you look around, this is some news. So Peter, on one side of the circle, motions or gives some sort of a gesture to John, who's sitting right next to Jesus, like close enough that he can like lean his head on him. So Peter's like, "John, ask Jesus who it is." So John, the teenager, he kind of goes over to Jesus. He's like, "Hey, Jesus, who is it? Who's going to betray you?" And Jesus is like, "Okay, check it out. The guy I'm going to give the bread to, that's it." John's the only one who hears that. So Jesus then dips the bread, gives it to Judas. Nobody else knows what's going on. It is actually very much like mafia, right? Like, Jesus has told one person. And then he says, then Satan enters into Judas, which we're not going to get into, which is below. It's interesting. And Jesus is like, "Okay, what you going to do? Do it fast." And Judas gets up and leaves. And nobody knows what's going on, except John and Jesus. And it was nighttime. So there's a lot of really interesting action between them here. But a couple of things I want to bring out. One, we kind of just glossed over at the beginning. The first verse says that Jesus was troubled in spirit. And although we were kind of joking about the way this happened, it's not that Jesus was just okay with this, right? Somebody that he was super close to was going to betray him. He knew it. And it troubled him. And I just want to say in general, it's okay to be troubled. Things in life are troubling sometimes. I don't know if you have this impression or have gotten this impression from anybody that like to be a Christian, to be in like living the spiritual life means that you're never troubled by stuff. It's just not true. Jesus was troubled here because what was happening was troubling, and that's okay. So if you're feeling troubled because of life circumstances, hey, Jesus was too. The other thing is relationships make us vulnerable. That's the thing, because people can let us down in big ways and in little ways. And this is probably the biggest, one of the biggest ones ever. The most innocent person ever being betrayed, like in the way that would lead him to him dying. That's pretty huge. But still, Jesus, even knowing that ahead of time, chose relationship. So, especially as we're sort of heading back into a time of life where we're maybe reconnecting with people because we might have more opportunities with summer or vaccination or whatever. Yeah, relationships bring risk. Yeah, but I mean, Jesus thought it was worth it, and there's ways we've all let him down. So, go ahead and take the risk.